stab me at my house. Please don't do this to me.
We were playing on the Ouija board, and he was talking about how he wants to summon a demon into the house.
It's just like a light switch. It was the scariest thing I ever saw.
When dispatchers in Spokane, Washington answer a 911 call, an urgent cry for help is followed by chaos and screaming on the other end of the line. Police respond to a scene where a man lies naked and stabbed, a woman stands soaked in his blood, and a third person has vanished, leaving behind a trail of questions and the fractured remains of a night gone horribly wrong. The following is based on official police records, and the footage has never been seen before until now. It's just before 6 a.m. on August 13th, 2020, when the call comes in.
911, what are you reporting?
Hello? Just stab me at my house.
What, ma'am? I barely hear you. What's going on there?
Please don't do this to me.
Ma'am, what is the location?
Oh my God.
Hello, sir. Ma'am.
Hello, is anyone there?
Yes, ma'am. This is 911. Where are you at right now?
Please, he's been stabbed multiple times. He's not breathing well. He's a correctional officer. I can hear his breath through the wounds. Just relax, please, Anthony. I have you. You're okay. You're okay. I have you.
So you're with him, right, ma'am? You're with him right now? Okay.
Yes, I'm covering his wounds.
Where is the person that stabbed him?
He's trying to run away.
He ran away?
Yeah, please don't.
All right, so ma'am, I'm going to get you online over to our police dispatcher, okay? Bear with me 1 second here, okay?
Okay, please hurry. He's not doing well.
769, you're on with Haley with stabbing.
Haley, do you know who did this?
His name is Edward Martinez. Edward Martinez.
And is it your boyfriend that stabbed?
My boyfriend stabbed my ex-husband.
Oh, okay. Hold on a minute. Who's your husband that's been stabbed?
His name is Anthony Richard Bryan. He can hardly breathe.
Okay.
I really need medical assistance.
Yeah, we're getting there, okay?
The assailant, 19-year-old Edward Eddie Martinez, has already fled on foot. Officers arrive to find the neighborhood quiet, one pausing on the sidewalk to question nearby residents.
You guys see anybody take off from here? You guys see anybody run away from here?
Although officers don't yet realize the horrific scene waiting just inside the house, they're about to witness it firsthand. Still on the phone with Haley, the dispatcher attempts to get more information to help guide them to the residence.
What color is your house?
My house.
The house that you're at. Come on. Help me, Haley. Haley, come out front and make yourself known to officers. You can, because the sooner you come out, the sooner we can help him. Okay, come out front.
Just take me to I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Come on out.
Who else is in here?
Making my dog sleep.
Who else is in here?
Where's our victim at? Dog's friendly? Hi, dog.
Hi, puppy. No, it's okay. Where's he at?
Dogs, come here.
He's in here.
That's him.
Keep that door open.
Keep that door open so foreigners can come in.
Spokane police, Spokane police.
Anybody else in here, man? Yes.
Yeah, we need max supplies now.
25-year-old Anthony lies nude on the bedroom floor, drenched in blood and barely clinging to life.
Oh, we need chest seals, bro. In the back!
Medics in now, please. He's still alive, but... Hey, partner, Spokane police. I got a faint pulse still, but... Got it?
Now, 30s.
Several.
Paramedics rush to Anthony's aid, but with little room to work, they quickly ready a gurney to move him outside. Meanwhile, an officer attempts to get critical information from Haley about the missing suspect.
Okay, quickly. I know this is traumatic, and I'm gonna have a bunch of questions.
Yes,
all right?
okay.
We got to start with the very basic.
He's not from here. He doesn't know the area very well. His name is Edward Andrew Martinez. He's from Sacramento, California.
Okay. Where was he last seen?
He was begging me to come out with him. I was in the bedroom holding him.
Come out where?
He begged me to take him somewhere. He didn't grab the cars. He begged me to drive him somewhere.
Where did he go?
I don't know. The only place he knows is J&K Liquor Up.
Last time you saw him, what was he wearing?
He was wearing blue denim shorts, and he was wearing dark blue loafers, and he was wearing a t-shirt. I don't remember what color it was.
You don't remember?
No, I only saw his bottom half. I was letting him to get out.
Paramedics attempt to control Anthony's bleeding, but with countless stab wounds ravaging his body, their efforts are quickly overwhelmed.
Where's he stabbed at?
Everywhere. Upper torso, a couple on the back.
Let's go.
Do we have one more sticker? Got an uncovered stab wound upper right.
Yeah. You want to start compression?
Yeah, we're going to start compression.
We're going to work him here. We're just going to go.
That's it. Let's go.
Do you need another sticker? Does it matter at this point?
If you have one,
yeah, hell yeah.
Leaking big time.
We're going to need one. You just want to leave us with every sticker you got. That'd be great.
The officer continues pressing Haley for details about the suspect, and soon learns the three share a far more tangled relationship than he could have ever imagined.
How do you know him?
We met online a few weeks ago.
Were you guys in a dating relationship or something?
Yeah, we were talking online for like a week or two, and I went down to California and picked him up.
Okay.
And brought him down here.
So has he been living here?
Yes, he's been living here for about 2 months.
The male who's been injured.
He's my ex-husband.
Does he live here as well?
Yes.
Okay. Did those two get into it over something?
I'm sorry to disclose so much, but we were all like messing around in the bedroom. And
okay. Just prior to this?
And he just snapped. And he was all into it. And I don't know why.
Was everybody drinking today?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys were all messing around in the bedroom. What precipitated the stabbing?
I think that he couldn't get there, or he couldn't get hard, and I think that he was just intimidated or something.
By your ex? So that's why he's nude? Okay. How did the stabbing occur?
We were just messing around on the bed, and he said it was okay. And the next thing I know...
Said what was okay?
Edward said it was okay that we were messing around.
Okay.
And then he started stabbing Anthony in the back, and Anthony said, "Ow, stop, what are you doing?" And I just jumped off the bed, and he just kept going out, and Anthony around the bedroom trying to get away.
Okay.
He just kept stabbing him.
Okay, so he was trying to flee while they were in there? Are you injured?
No, I'm not. I told him I was, so he'd leave.
The officer escorts Haley to his cruiser where she can stay warm, given that all she's wearing is a blood-soaked robe. The front seat affords her a clear view of paramedics fighting to save Anthony.
It's okay. So he's got a pulse. He's all right. Okay?
Okay.
Haley, I need you to listen to me, all right? We need to think real hard where he would have gone.
He really doesn't know anything down here. We go to the dispensary, or we go to the...
Does he have any friends here?
No.
Okay.
He's literally got no one here. Oh, God!
Haley, look at me, okay? Haley, don't look over there.
Anthony is loaded into the ambulance, which makes its way to a nearby hospital.
He didn't deserve this.
Okay.
If I would have known he was in any danger, I wouldn't have let any of this happen.
No, I understand.
Officers secure the house with police tape and begin searching the vehicles in the driveway in case Eddie may have hidden inside. During their search, they discover a uniform, which Haley clarifies belongs to Anthony, who works as a correctional officer. Afterward, the officers share grim remarks about the severity of Anthony's injuries.
There was a lot of Singer sewing machine.
I was looking at his front. He was stabbed from here.
Shin sliced open.
Down chest, stomach, like and then rolled him over.
Like it looked
And he had
like
just 4 more on his back.
I'd say he's upwards of 20-ish stab wounds.
Well, they were in the middle of having intercourse,
Pretty decent.
and so
they were all kind of intermingled with that, but suspect started stabbing victim in the back, and then they started running around, suspect chasing, and then it was, yeah.
As they continue, one officer shares the reason for their delayed entry into the house.
When Macbeth and I pulled up, we're looking around, like there's no screaming, there's no sound of anything going on.
That sounded kind of weird.
Yeah.
You guys like,
and I was like, are we sure it's... And then she finally came out, and well, I was like, yeah, we're at the right house.
was he conscious?
The victim? I wouldn't say conscious, but he was taking some gasping breaths, and he would move every once in a while.
That's called agonal breathing.
That's not good. Pulse was down to like low 40s when they picked him up and carried him out on his gurney.
That's pretty.
There was some of that, like, thick gelatinous.
Well, but, yeah. He had bubbles come out of his armpit.
Yeah, that's bad. Material bleeding.
I've never seen so many chest seals on one person.
Haley provides officers with a photo of Eddie to help them as they organize a search. Still, her greatest concern is for Anthony, fearing that any hope of saving him is already gone.
Well, I'm not trying to give you false hope, but I'll tell you too, if he was expired, that ambulance would have never left this location. So he was alive when he left here.
I feel so incredibly guilty. I don't even have a stab wound. Like, I didn't even protect them, you know?
That's, well, sounds like it happened really fast.
I
Okay.
didn't even know.
A canine tracker and drone operator work together to scour the neighborhood, hoping that Eddie may still be somewhere nearby, but there's no trace of him until 7:13 a.m. when Sacramento dispatchers contact Spokane police.
Crime check, what are you reporting?
Hi, my name's Katie. I'm a dispatcher with Sacramento Police Dispatch. I've got a caller on the other line whose son called them from Spokane, Washington, saying he was running for his life. Is this the correct phone number?
He's in Spokane, yeah.
Yeah, okay, let me bring her on. Okay, ma'am, you're connected with Spokane Police. Go ahead.
How long ago did your son call you?
At 7:08.
So about 5-7 minutes ago. And he said he was running for his life. Did he say where he was at?
That's what he told us, and he said he's at the 1500 block of Wesley Avenue there in Spokane, Washington. There's a park near there, and he was walking in there, running in an alley, and saw some stranger and asked if he could use the phone.
Okay.
Their phone.
Any reason why he didn't call 911 himself?
Yeah.
What's his first name?
His first name is Edward.
Edward? Let me see if we've got any calls from an Edward. One sec. No, it doesn't look like it. Seems odd that he wouldn't call 911 and just call family in another state. Did he say exactly what was going on?
He just said that he was running for his life.
Following the tip on his location, Eddie was quickly found and arrested without incident, which was relayed over the radio to the Canine Search Unit.
Yo!
Sweet.
Attaboy. Surprised that went peacefully.
Well, thanks, Mom, for calling.
Right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Eddie is taken to the police station for an interrogation, where detectives will soon try to unravel how a seemingly consensual encounter erupted into a violent bloodbath. As he waits for the interview to begin, his unsettled voice fills the empty room.
Alien. I just want to see the alien. So we can see the alien, everything will be fine. And she's still working on not me. Doesn't mean I should have taken his life. He's tired of being a landlord. He's tired of it. It's work.
Hey, Eddie? Edward? What do you prefer to go by?
Eddie.
Eddie? My name is Brian Sesnick. I'm a detective with the police department. Detective Doug Strosall. They tell you this room is recorded, audio and video recorded. Obviously, it's a police station.
Just to my crazy empty thoughts.
Well, the reason I'm here is obviously that I know what happened. That's my job. My hope is that I can just talk to you and tell me whatever you want. I'm just here to get facts.
The detective reads and explains his Miranda rights before continuing.
With these rights in mind, do you wish to answer my questions?
Is it all right if I have a lawyer present?
You would like a lawyer?
Yes.
It is.
Though it seems the interview is over before it begins, what the detective shares next changes everything.
So what's going to happen? We're going to have someone come in here. We're seeking a search warrant to get photographs. buccal swabs, which is your DNA. They'll be in here. When that's done, you're going to be booked into jail. You're going to be charged with first-degree murder. Okay?
He's dead.
He is dead. You killed him. If you change your mind and decide you want to talk to me about this, you can always send a kite.
Yeah, I don't need a lawyer. Forget that. I know what I did, and I'm not going to deny it.
Eddie has read his rights once more before questioning begins.
So before we go into everything, I just want to ask, why did you say you wanted an attorney and then decide to talk? Is it because you didn't think he was dead? I mean, what?
No, it's just, I don't know, I'm thinking too much about it.
Thinking too much about it.
I've been thinking about too much lately, and it's...
I get it.
Be the death of me.
What's going on with your life?
I've just been fucking off a lot, and I'm like just not doing the right thing, and it took me over mentally, and thought I was going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I literally thought that there's like someone else in my head. Like I'm not the only one in my head. Might need testing because I don't know.
Do you have a counselor?
No.
Right. What are the tattoos?
Oh, that's a tree of life.
What about the K on your finger?
My girlfriend's got a matching Q.
Oh, okay. Does it mean anything, or is it just because
we're together?
Just because you're together.
I mean, probably not no more, but yeah.
Eddie explains he first met Haley on the dating app Badoo.
I guess I was the first one to like her on the profile, and she matched with me, and from there, we just clicked. Like, it just felt so natural talking to her, and you know, I was at a point in time where I just couldn't trust anybody around me. Even people that I loved sometimes I just thought were shifty, and I don't know. I've just been seeing things in a really fucked up way.
He tells the detective that Haley lived with him temporarily in Sacramento before deciding to return home to Spokane.
I wasn't going to stop her. I just went with her. And a lot changed after that. Like, I like literally just cut everybody off for my new life.
Sure. What all did you know about her at that point?
Well, I knew her situation, when she was still living with her husband, who she's claims to be divorced with.
Although Haley described Anthony as her ex-husband, their divorce wasn't yet finalized at the time of the incident.
And I, at first, was okay with the idea of it because I didn't think she told me, you know, he's not going to be on no weird shit. He's not going to do the things that he did do and did drive me off the edge.
So how was the living situation in the house?
It was fine, you know, for a while it just functioned, everything just worked, and there were moments where I would find text messages between them of things I didn't want to see, and that, you know, I kept telling her about it, I keep telling her, and she keeps ignoring it, you know.
After news of Anthony's murder broke to his family, some were quick to point blame at Haley.
I'm curious as, have they arrested his wife? Anthony's wife? If not, you all need to put her in cuffs. Okay. All right. And so, for what reason? Apparently, what they said on page 2 on their website said that the two men live together. All right. Anthony's married. Okay. The suspect is his wife's boyfriend. I just think that she needs to be looked at pretty seriously.
This girl has created this situation. This person who stabbed my nephew, she is just as responsible for this as he is.
But as investigators have learned, things among the three seemed cordial until last night, when, according to Eddie, everything shifted after they began partying and playing an unusual game.
We started taking shots of gin.
How many shots did y'all take? I mean, did you polish off a bottle and just take a couple?
We had like 4 shots each.
Okay.
It was like one of the bigger Master Jam gin bottles. And we just took that. And we also took a couple of dabs. You know dabs, right?
Well, you tell me, just so we're on the same page.
It's like a THC wax, and they get it really hot and inhale it. Yeah.
Okay. So y'all were sitting around doing that. How were things going at first?
At first, we were playing. It was pretty weird. We were playing on a Ouija board.
Playing on a Ouija board?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Anthony was talking about how he wants to summon a demon into the house, even though he thinks the house is full of good spirits, and summoned a named Zozo or whatever. He was like begging for Zozo to come and like, be there, and the thing moved to where he wasn't going to be there. Like, they said no. And I asked it a couple things and got some interesting answers.
After attempting a demonic summoning through the Ouija board, they turned on some music, and sometime after midnight, Eddie says that Haley came to him with a proposition.
Haley comes on to me, wants me to have sex with her, right in front of him. And he's sitting like right there, like on the corner, at that distance from the bed. And
so whose room are you in now?
We're in ours, and he's just in there.
However, Eddie's version of what happened doesn't quite align with what Haley told an officer at the crime scene.
I don't know, like, he just got too fucked up tonight or just lost it or what.
And he wasn't doing anything besides smoking weed and drinking gin?
No. Okay. And it was their plan. Like, I went in on it, because I didn't even, like...
So, do he and Anthony get along?
Yeah.
Is their plan to have this sexual encounter with all of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was really drunk, so I couldn't work anything up for some reason. I get that drunk sometimes. I can't. My body just goes numb. And I have
So you couldn't get hard?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So what happens next?
She starts trying to get me somewhere. It's not working. We start messing around, and then Anthony starts coming up, rubbing mine and her feet. And just, I don't know, like, it made me feel uncomfortable, but, I was already uncomfortable. So it just, like, added to it, and I don't know, I started feeling a deep anger inside of me. Just building. And, like, after a while, I literally took a step in the bathroom. Light wasn't on. And all I can think in my head, as soon as I walk in that bathroom, is, like, literally, I went to find a knife and then lost it.
Eddie then left the bathroom and retrieved a small folding knife from the living room mantel above the fireplace.
And then obviously you went back to the bedroom.
Right. And
did you say anything to them?
No. I actually kind of did this pretty sneaky. And that's what I feel bad about, is I was pretty sadistic about it. I took the knife and I literally hid it between my ass cheeks. So no one would see me walking in.
You were completely naked at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sure enough, when I sat down, I moved it to where I could easily grab it. And then I said, well, since you guys are doing this right here, you might as well change the view, And I got him to turn around where Anthony's back was facing me.
So how were they when you walked in?
They were facing me on the bed. When I was sitting like this on the bed, when I laid down and hid the knife. And then I picked up my phone and... Not my phone, I picked up her phone. Because they said turn the light on. And I turned the light on and used that as a distraction.
The light on the phone?
Mm-hmm. And I just did what I never thought I would do. Ever. It was when I came back in the room taking a piss.
Mm-hmm.
And I see him fucking her. Not giving a fuck. Telling me to join in. Knowing that I'm not going to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it was, but just seeing that and thinking about, like, just everything else adding up, I felt like nothing mattered. And, like, literally, I said, fuck it. And I feel bad about it now. Like, I feel remorse now. I genuinely miss Anthony because he was an alright friend. Mm-hmm. I don't know what drove me to fucking take his life. I couldn't stop. Because I used to go hunting. Mm-hmm. So I know the feeling of taking life. I used, like, whenever we get a deer, the dog would go fetch it, and it wasn't quite dead. When you shoot it with a shotgun, brings it back. I had to snap the necks of them, and that actually gave me a rush. It was pretty gnarly. I haven't gone hunting in so long.
Did this give you a rush while you were doing it?
It was, like, very short-lived, because when I stabbed it, fuck.
So
I literally, like, I had no idea. I just lost control and I gained it all back that's when it was too late.
At the scene, Haley described what happened just as Eddie began his vicious assault on Anthony.
And he was telling Aaron, then he was telling Eddie to stop, that he was hurt, that he's really hurt. And
How many times do you think he stabbed him?
Oh, God, so much. Probably before, I thought he was, like, punching him at first. It was probably 15, 16 times between the back and the chest. I could literally hear each of the holes, like, gasping for breath in his lungs. Like,
How big is the knife?
probably about 4 inches. It was a utility silver knife. It was kind of boxy.
Was it like a 4-inch long blade?
Yeah.
The folding utility knife was recovered at the crime scene, its blade and handle stained with Anthony's blood.
Did you say anything to him?
No. Well, I think I said some words out of fury, but it wasn't any, like, rational words. It was probably just anger.
What did he say?
First thing he said was, please stop. We can talk about this.
What about Haley? What was she doing?
She just kept saying, you're scaring me, you're scaring me.
It's just like a light switch. Okay. It was the scariest thing I ever saw. Okay. And then he put me on the bed. He said, "You're gonna go. We're gonna go." I'm like, "No. Why
If
would you do that?"
say that again.
He pinned me on the bed and said, "We're gonna go," and I said, "No."
The 911 call captured Eddie's desperate plea alongside Haley's frantic response.
So he tried to force you to go? Was he holding you at knife point when that happened?
No, he threw it on the bed.
He didn't have the knife.
No, he threw it on the bed. And he said, "You can't do this to me." And I said, "I got to." And I jumped down off the bed, away from his grasp, and started grabbing Anthony. And he started getting dressed. He said, "You gotta get me out of here. You gotta hide me." I'm like, "I'm not gonna hide you. I gotta make sure it's okay."
Remember what you said to her?
Yeah. I think.
What'd you say?
I said something along the lines of, you have to help me. I can't go to jail.
Did she agree to help you?
No. I knew she wasn't going to.
Was Haley a part of this at all?
No. I think she knew it was up, though.
At what point?
Well, she told me I sometimes have these like swings, mood swings, not really mood swings, but like just episodes where I'll I just shift. It's like psychologically just shift, and I'm just like, that's the me that doesn't give a fuck, kind of thing. And she can tell like when I'm being sadistic, just in like the way I talk and the things that I say as opposed to how I normally talk. And she knew, because I was hinting at it, but I wasn't like being direct with it. I was kind of like smiling and laughing at her in a really fucked up way. And like at that point, I just lost all.
She said you started doing that before you left the room to go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's because I think I was thinking about it at that time.
You were thinking that you were going to go get a knife?
Mm-hmm.
That was before you went pee, though.
Yeah.
In the story you just
told. No, it's not.
She said they were there. You had a look.
Yeah. And then when they started having sex when I came back, that's when I got the knife and then made another trip. I actually don't remember it fully and in like all the right sequence, so I'm not lying, I'm just like...
No. You said you started thinking about it and you got that look, and that's when she knew. And she said that you had a weird look before you ever even went to the bathroom. And so I'm just wondering if, when you're in the room before you went to the bathroom, if you started thinking about this, or if it was really when you came back from the bathroom and...
I think I started in the room. I was thinking about it. Oh. Now I'm like thinking all the way back. Like the premeditation started right there in the room.
Before you even went to the bathroom?
Right.
Okay.
As the detective digs for any prior history of violence, Eddie suddenly drops an unexpected bombshell about Haley.
Anything physical between you and him ever before this?
Nope.
No fighting at all?
Mm-hmm.
How was you and Haley's relationship? Because obviously, I can only imagine the stress that would put on.
Well, our relationship was pretty rocky for a while. Like, not too rocky. Like, we genuinely love each other. At least I feel like. Even if whatever happens, you know, and I honestly feel like we have a kid on the way.
You do? She's pregnant? I did not know that. What do you want me to tell Haley?
It's just a lot. Is it possible if I can write her down a letter or something?
Absolutely.
I'd rather just do that.
Once Eddie is left alone, he will soon resume talking to himself, spilling raw and unsettling thoughts into the empty room. Before stepping away to let him write, the detective answers one final urgent question about Eddie's legal fate.
Am I doing life?
I can't answer that. I can tell you I have been doing this a long time, and with the exception of like third strike cases, I have not had a life case.
Really?
Yes.
I literally thought, like, if you kill someone, you do life. Like, I thought it was that serious.
You would think so, but no, it's not how our criminal justice system works. So.
After assuring Eddie that Haley will receive his letter, the detective leaves him alone to write. As he begins, he breaks down, consumed by the lasting consequences of his actions.
I'm not going to see you for a while. I'm supposed to be a dad. I'm supposed. I'll never love you again. I really hope I'm out of here in 9 months. I hope I can do the same thing I had to go through. Why did I follow my dad's footsteps?
Finished with his letter, someone returns to collect the pen. Once again left with only his thoughts, Eddie considers his plans for the future and reflects on a horrifying night that will haunt him forever.
I do the time I get out. I try to go back for her. Her system's weird now. I can actually get out of this very easily. I'm crying. Most of my fluid's out. I gotta stop crying. Gotta not sound like a bitch. Just gotta play it smooth all the way through. Eventually, find a way. Yeah, I killed a man. Stabbed him like 8 times. He was raping my girlfriend. He got her drunk so he could rape her. To me, too. Thinking I was just gonna let it happen. You know, that's just me trying to justify it, though. I know what I did was wrong. I know I have blood on my hands. Like, literally. But, at least in my own head, I know what I felt like I did what was right. It's just, I can't bring myself to think that was right. I could have beat his ass. That's what I should have done. This wouldn't even have been a fucking situation if I just beat the fuck out of him. What the fuck? Why, Eddie? Why did you push yourself so fucking far? You bottle up all your fucking emotions. It wasn't worth it. It didn't have to stab him. I wonder if I can find out more about this law system. Try to get out early on good behavior or something. So I'll do whatever it takes. I just need to get back home to my lady and my child. That's all I want. I'm coming back home to you, baby. I'm coming back home. Yeah, he thought it was good vibes I was sending out, but really, he took my vibes and killed them. And then I did the same.
25-year-old Anthony Brine suffered from a total of 20 separate stab wounds, including 14 to the chest and abdomen, 5 to the back, and 1 to the right arm. After investigators executed a search warrant to collect photographs, DNA, and his clothing, 19-year-old Edward Eddie Martinez was taken to jail. He was formally charged with first-degree premeditated murder and, following a trial in April 2023, was found guilty and sentenced to 27 years in prison. Although he filed an appeal in February 2025, the Court of Appeals upheld both his conviction and his sentence.
To twist her around so I could get a better shot at her heart. It was automatic. I didn't even think about it. I stabbed her a couple times in the back as I was swinging her around, and she got free of my hand and went flying into the glass door, knocked her head, stopped crying completely. Okay, I figured she was probably toast. Yeah. The mom was still gurgling and kind of breathing deeply. Steve just went at her. I was actually kind of scared of him. He just kept hacking at the bed, came over to our side and hacked at it some more, and then went over and kicked the girl a couple times with his steel-toe boots and then hit her in the head with the machete. At least that's so he said. He didn't aim for that. Yeah, I was backing off because I knew Steve was losing it. I could tell. Then he turned around. He looked like Jason from Halloween with a machete in his hand. And then I told him, "Steve, relax. It's just me. It's Chris." He was breathing hard and relaxing. Quinn had the good sense to go turn the breakers back on and lights on. Yeah. In fact, Quinn couldn't believe the horror before his eyes. When the mother woke up and she made a comment, she said, "Jamie," or something, you know. I walked out of the room. Okay, that's because you knew what the purpose was to be here. I was shocked that this was actually happening, and I walked down the hallway because I didn't want to face the reality. The mom was obviously not going to make it. The girl, I was pretty sure, wasn't going to. She was completely out. There was blood all over the place. According to Christopher's description of Stephen's behavior, it seems that Stephen was experiencing a rage blackout, which is similar to those that people with anger management issues struggle with. The person often acts very primitively, as was the case with Stephen and how he brutally murdered Kimberly. Evidence of this can go to show many things, among them a sense of self-control and understanding, which negates any sort of non-culpability defense. A court-appointed psychiatrist would be able to interview Christopher and easily determine that he understood the nature of his acts and knew at the time of the crime that they were wrong. He may have wanted to portray himself as remaining in control because he believed it made him look stronger compared to Stephen. For someone with antisocial personality disorder, they might see it as very negative to lose control, as they often view themselves as superior to others. Whether he lost it or not, the outcome of their twisted idea of fun was something beyond your worst nightmare. Horrifically so. Kimberly had been struck with the machete in the head and torso 36 times, while her daughter had suffered 18 severe wounds, including a punctured lung, a fractured elbow, a cracked skull, and a partially amputated foot. Following the murder, Quinn had unexpectedly turned the lights back on, forcing them to look at the disturbing scene. However, this may have given them even more of the gratification that they so greatly desired. And although the perpetrators were convinced that their work had been done, they underestimated just how strong that one-year-old girl really was. Petrified, Jamie lay there on the blood-stained floor while her attackers stole a few pieces of jewelry before fleeing the scene. Pretending that she had succumbed to her injuries, Jamie was able to escape the cruel fate that they had so mercilessly tried to bring upon her. She was able to gather all of her strength and dial 911. When someone encounters a threat, they may stop all movement and sound in an attempt to hide from whatever the threat is, also known as the freeze response. The idea is that by drawing as little attention to themselves as possible, they may minimize the danger. In doing so, there's no doubt that Jamie showed an incredible amount of courage. And although it seems we've heard every blood-curdling detail from Christopher, Billy is suddenly rather hesitant to give the full story. Did you ever? I know this is a tough thing for you. Billy's answers have been brief, and while not completely avoidant, they have been limited. This could be taken in one of two ways. Either he's guilty and trying to hide his crimes, even feeling remorse or disgusted about what they took part in. or he's a traumatized onlooker who had no idea what was going to happen, and whose brain blocked out much of the memory as a protective measure. We know that our brain is capable of protecting itself from traumatizing events in this way. But this is also an awfully convenient excuse that someone can use when trying to avoid openly and honestly retelling the events that occurred. In spite of this, the detective informs Billy that forensic evidence will always prove fact from fiction. So it's in his best interest to be completely transparent. He finally admits to stepping foot in the master bedroom for a short amount of time. I know it's no. I don't know. Did you see the woman? Yeah. Where was she? On the... Was she alive? I doubt it. I didn't think so. Okay. Did you see the little girl? Yeah. Where was she? She was on the floor. And was she alive? I doubt it. I didn't think so. Do you ever touch any one of them? Your knife ever touch any of them? No. Did you lend your knife to anyone that night? Just did my pocket all the time. The fact that Billy even took a knife to the burglary indicates that he may have had the intention of using it. On the other hand, the knife possibly helped Billy to feel tough so he could build up the nerve to enter the home and commit the robbery. It seems, however, that the violence, blood, and death was too much for him to handle. Had you guys sat around Friday to Saturday and talked about doing a burglary? Well, I didn't with them first. I don't know if they did. You're telling me right now. You're looking me in the eye and you're telling me you've never done a burglary before. It's breaking me apart. Yes. Okay. You ever heard any of those guys talk about killing people? Like kidding around? Yeah, okay. What kind of kidding around? You know, just a normal, I'll kill you. How kids are. Just saying that all the time. Teachers, people like that. But why would you like to have the seriousness of actually killing someone? Manipulative killers will often seek their partners using a certain pattern. As we see here, they'll joke about things like crime and murder to see who's completely repulsed and not a potential accomplice and who will let it slide. Eventually, they'll take it further down the path of dark crime jokes or actions until the other person is complicit in something serious with no way to escape. This may have been the case with Stephen, although Billy asserts that there was never an orchestrated plan and he thought the mutual understanding between the group was that it would be a robbery and nothing more. But later it was revealed that he and Stephen had previously scouted Trow Road for a house to burglarize, even telling a friend on Saturday, October 3rd, that Stevie was planning a breaking and entering. Not only this, but Billy had been flaunting his assisted opening knife, allegedly stating that he was planning on using it on a police officer or someone else. I couldn't tell you what their intentions were, but they had a plan if they confronted somebody, didn't they? I guess so. Did they tell you what that plan was if they confronted somebody? I heard well. Then yes, I did. But they told me that if there were people in the house that they would have them off in this court of law. The court. Whatever. That's, that stuff. That's what I thought would be happening. When did they tell you that? Probably the day or two before, maybe. Not even? So you had discussed a burglary ahead of time? Not that specific. Supposedly, Stephen had even requested that a friend research how to make the dangerous concoction. He wanted me to look up how to make chloroform. I was like, all right, whatever. I didn't see it as a big deal because I had known Steve to own copies of the anarchist and terrorist cookbook. Knowing Steve and his history, I took everything I heard with a grain of salt, because as much as, Steve was like a brother to me, I couldn't really trust the words. Anything that Steve said in all actuality, because he'd give these grandiose stories and there'd be no one to corroborate anything he said. Apparently, the Friday before the attack, Stephen had told Autumn that he had a plan in mind for that weekend, but didn't want to divulge any details to his friend, his reason being that he wanted Autumn to stay out of trouble. However, Stephen will involve him soon enough. Despite Stephen and Christopher's alleged plan, Billy asserts that they did not bring the chloroform after all. While the little girl struggled to call the police, the assailants quickly fled on foot back to Christopher's car, where they each had a new pair of clothes to change into. They drove Billy back to his vehicle at Walmart and later dropped Quinn off at his house before Stephen and Christopher made their way to Autumn's place around 5:30 inches the morning. Before leaving the Cade's house, Stephen had allegedly wished to carve the words, "You're lucky," into the neighbor's outside wall, seeing as they were almost chosen as the innocent victims. This likely indicates that Stephen may have been on a sort of high after murdering Kimberly, feeling like a villain and that he had the power to spare the people next door. So, yeah. We basically planned it. If someone was there, we were going to kill them. Did you think that it was, if somebody was there, if they resisted, you were going to kill them, or it was just, we were just going to kill them? Yeah. I'll be perfectly honest. I wanted to kill someone for a long time. It's like an urge, and it was kind of a time that I could get it out. It's very rare for a murderer to make this sort of admission. Although it's horrific to hear, and very confusing for the average person to understand such a desire. It's this type of information that helps us to understand the mind of someone with severe antisocial personality disorder. They don't value human life the way a typical person does, and only think of their own needs and desires, their own urges, as Christopher insightfully described. They often know right from wrong, as Christopher verbalized earlier, of how horrific it would be for someone to harm a woman, let alone a little girl, but they don't guide themselves by moral principles. People with antisocial personality can often learn to mimic normal human emotion, but they don't actually feel that emotion. I thought at least I would feel bad about it. I'm almost sorry to say I don't. I'm not sure why. I thought I would at least like puke afterwards or something after looking at her with her forearm open with the bone showing. When you say her, you mean the woman? Stabbing the girl, as she was saying, "Please don't do this." Because the mom was. Who was saying, "Please don't do this"? The girl. The little girl. The mom was like, "It'll be okay." I think her mom probably hoped that we weren't going to hurt the little girl, because she was a little girl. It was kind of cool because it was different. Yeah. But I'm not really sure if I have a conscience anymore. Christopher may very well be enjoying the process of telling the story because he gets to relive the incident. This may be why he's being so forthcoming, providing so much detail, even laying out his feelings and thought process. He's giving the detectives much more than what they're asking for, but it's unlikely that he's doing it to help the detectives because, like he said, he doesn't care or feel bad, and he isn't sure if he has a conscience. Even with the possibility of being locked in prison for the rest of his life, he may be able to feel some satisfaction thinking back to the memory of the crime. Steve had mentioned that we weren't going to have time to torture, and that we'd do it some other time. It's likely that Stephen was the more sadistic of the two, although Christopher seems to definitely have sadistic tendencies. It seems that Stephen was more of the savage, violent criminal who plotted the crimes, while Christopher was more of the brains of the operation. I think Steve enjoys just the butchery part of it. Just the power. Yeah. If I went in there to kill him, I'm just going to kill him. You'll get used to it, Chris. It's addicting, but we'll take care of it. Even Autumn can recall Stephen's volatile nature. Steve had always talked about doing shootings and killing people, and said he'd killed a lot of people. And like he had got a lot of respect on the streets and whatever, and he always said he wanted to kill someone to know what it felt like. I never took it as anything more than, the ramblings of a troubled kid. Steve had mentioned in the past that he wanted to kill his mom because there was a lot of animosity between them, because she degraded him, in his opinion. He was thinking very seriously and discussing with Chris Gribble about murdering his mother, Stephen's mother. This sort of obsession with murder and enjoyment of the act itself is common among people with severe antisocial personality disorder. Oftentimes, they'll commit murder as a means to an end, such as to obtain money or to avoid being caught if a victim lives and is able to identify them. It's less common when the person actually takes pleasure in the act of murder. This is often evidenced by the weapon that is chosen and the manner that the murder was executed. For instance, using a machete may indicate enjoyment of the process, since it involves closer contact with the victim and their death is prolonged. Using a firearm could indicate that the person simply wanted to kill the victim as quickly as possible, as it provides physical distance and often kills quickly. Steve had mentioned before that he's killed multiple people. He said this one wasn't his first mom and daughter. It's possible that Steven was lying about his alleged previous murders to impress the group. However, it may have also been a form of manipulation. He wanted them to feel confident that he'd already gotten away with murder before, so they could trust that he would make sure they got away with it this time too. Although Steven's claims have never been confirmed, the fact that he would make such alarming claims is enough to shock you to your core. After the horrific ordeal, Christopher and Steven made their way to Autumn's house around 5 inches the morning, where the young man seemed to be unaware of what had just occurred. Autumn was of the impression that they had committed a robbery and not a murder. However, as the attackers showcased their newfound possessions, he was more than willing to help dispose of the evidence. Hoping to put some distance between them and the murder, they planned to burn the remaining evidence. But Autumn supposedly had the idea of throwing it into the Nashua River instead. Although, ironically enough, he would ultimately be the one to lead police directly to it. Although Autumn asserts that he had no previous knowledge of the intended crime, his story seems to contain a few holes. I make jokes because it helps me stay calm, and I was very scared. Those jokes didn't start occurring until after Billy had texted Steve, saying that the little girl had survived. On Saturday, Steve had looked me in the face and said, "There are only 5 people who know about this. 4 of us who did it, and you. If it comes down to police showing up, we know you're at it. And I love you like a brother, but I'll fucking kill you. I will kill you and anyone you care about." During his interrogation, Autumn jumped at the first opportunity to confess, showing where he, Steven, and Christopher had thrown a black trash bag with a small jewelry box, an air conditioner screen, rubber gloves, a plastic bag with an insurance card belonging to David Cates, a red sweatshirt with Steven's name, socks with Christopher's name, and several other items placed inside. Christopher and Steven had also buried some of the remaining jewelry, the machete, a knife, and 2 iPods, one from the Cates' home, and one from their previous robbery in a wooded area near Christopher's house, but not before they had a chance to show off the terrifying weapons to their friends. Hours after the murder had taken place, Christopher, Steven, Billy, and another friend, Eldon Spikes, had all been hanging out at their regular spot, Walmart, where Steven had supposedly revealed the tale of horror. He was excited to tell the story, supposedly stating that he wished he could do it again. Although the friends were unsure if Eldon had taken the words into account, considering that he had allegedly been high on numerous drugs. Christopher and Steven then traveled to the Pheasant Lane Mall in Nashua, selling the jewelry for $130 at a cash for gold store, where they were actually stopped by police for appearing suspicious. They were informed that multiple robberies had recently taken place in Brookline and Mont Vernon. As a result, the officer didn't question them any further. But little did he know, he was staring into the faces of stone-cold killers. Later that day, Christopher and Steven traveled to their friend Kyle Fenton's home, located in Brookline, and brought the machete and knife along with them. There, they proudly revealed their haunting secret, spilling every shocking detail about the murder, and parading the weapons as if it were show and tell. But what the teenagers managed to forget was that not everyone would share in their excitement at the gruesome crime, and some might even report it to the police. Fortunately, when Kyle informed his mother of the situation, she did exactly that. Christopher and Steven's grandiosity had unsurprisingly backfired. In their excitement, they got too boastful and essentially participated in turning themselves in. If I were to tell you that Eldon said he was threatened, would that surprise you? No. Do you know Eldon was threatened? I don't know if he was threatened. Did you hear that he had been threatened? No. You don't know anything about that threat? Again, I'm going to ask you, have you heard any more details? After the fact, any of the guys talking about it? They seemed quite amused by it. They seemed amused by it. Who's they? Stevie and Chris. Stevie and Chris. Was Quinlan amused by it? I didn't really see him that much that night. Like, I didn't talk to him. He didn't talk to me. He didn't really talk much. What did they say that made you thought they were amused? They were just laughing about it. They seemed to not really care. So initially you said it was just small chatter. But all this was big up before? Yeah. After. In the house they didn't really talk much. But afterwards they said that, I guess they said pretty much it was like. However, the disturbing jokes were not shared by everyone, as Quinn was in disbelief at the gruesome attack. Chris was just saying that he was happy he got the kid. And we had a little bit of an argument over that, just over the ethics of it. Who had the argument? You and Chris? Me and Chris. It wasn't a heated argument, but he said he was happy that he got the kid, and I said no, not women and children. Quinn goes on to chillingly state that Stephen wanted to get Chris into killing by committing such an act. Unfortunately, the disturbing plan seemed to have worked. Stevie and Chris were just going back and forth about just having a rush. Did they say anything more specifically about what they had done? It was halfway down the dirt road. That's when Chris said he was happy he got the girl. Stevie was making the machete joke. Oh, I'm sorry. What was the machete joke? He was making a joke about, oh, she woke up to get hacked to death by a machete. Chris and Stevie were just very jovial in a rush. I was agreeing going along with it because I was just in the house and one of my friends and a new acquaintance just killed people and I wasn't about to disagree with anything. Billy said something about being put in the newspaper and Stevie said something. He said, yeah, we're going to be in the paper, but not us. According to Quinn, Billy had wanted to be in the newspaper ever since he was a child, and given his crime, it seemed that it didn't matter how. Sunday night, the four criminals along with Eldon had been visiting at Quinn's house when the hangout suddenly turned volatile. Stephen, worried about Eldon's knowledge of the homicide, wished to dispose of the loose end. Unsurprisingly, Christopher was on board to commit yet another murder. He assured his accomplices that not a word would be spoken of the incident, ultimately ending the confrontation. Billy. Apparently either his friend or his friend is either one of Steve's friends or it was like Billy's sister or something like that. One of his friend's sisters goes to school the same place that the little girl did, and so it's all around the school, and so we got on the online telegraph thing on Alden's computer. I looked at it and found out the girl had survived. There wasn't a lot on there, but they gave me a really hard time. They were like, wow, Chris, you couldn't even kill a 10-year-old. Gave me a really hard time. Who's they? Steve and Alden. Steve was like, at least I killed my bitch. Christopher says this almost as if he wants the investigators to feel bad for him, rather than focusing on the fact that they just murdered a mother and brutally assaulted her child. Presenting Stephen in this way may be helpful to Christopher's case, although Stephen may or may not have said this. It's in Christopher's best interest to display Stephen as the more unempathetic and violent criminal. That way, Christopher believes he looks like a bit of a victim compared to his monster of a friend. On top of this, the other three apparently referred to Christopher as a murder virgin as he was unable to complete the thrill kill. I'm kind of surprised she's alive. I'm not sure. I kind of wish she died for her sake just because she's going to have to live with all that now. If I'm going to kill someone, I'm going to actually do it so that they don't have to sit and live with a bunch of trauma. I don't want someone to go through that, so if I can just end it for them, I would. Christopher may feel a sense of failure because Jamie lived. He doesn't want to be viewed as weak. So he suggests that he's only disappointed for her sake, when in actuality, it likely has everything to do with him and nothing to do with her. At the same time, Christopher is once again presenting himself as a victim. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. Following the chilling confessions, Billy had supposedly discussed with his dad the idea of selling his story to various media outlets. Another indication of how heartless he was. In the end, Billy and Quinn were given plea deals for testifying against Christopher and Stephen. Billy pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder, burglary, and first-degree assault, and sentenced to 30 to 60 years behind bars. In comparison, Quinn pleaded guilty to burglary, robbery, and conspiracy to commit burglary, receiving a sentence of 20 to 40 years. Autumn was eventually sentenced to a minimum of 5 years for hindering apprehension and conspiracy to hinder apprehension. In an unsuccessful attempt to avoid a first-degree murder charge, Christopher pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. The idea he'd been insane was quickly denied by the court psychiatrist, stating that he was well aware of his behavior and actively chose to commit such a horrendous crime. During his trial, Stephen appeared to not take the proceedings seriously when he made a shocking and unusual request to his attorney. He's enough. There are a few different reasons behind this kind of behavior. One possibility is that Stephen could be trying to manipulate the situation and gain sympathy from the jury. By reminding them that it's his birthday, he might hope that the jury will feel more inclined to be lenient in their sentencing or view him as more human and relatable. Another possibility is that he is simply trying to exert control over the situation. By asking about his birthday and the possibility of the jury singing, he's taking an active role in the proceedings and potentially even trying to dictate the mood or tone of the courtroom. It's also possible that he's simply trying to assert some kind of dominance and show that he is unfazed by the gravity of the situation. Regardless of the specific motivation, it's clear that this kind of behavior is concerning and indicative of a serious lack of empathy or remorse, and shows that he's completely out of touch with the situation and why he's sitting there in the first place. In contrast, Christopher allegedly stated that if given the chance, nothing could prevent him from killing again. Both Stephen and Christopher were eventually convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Although in 2012, the United States Supreme Court ruled against sentencing minors to life without receiving any chance of parole. But shockingly, Stephen filed a motion not to appeal his conviction, and the New Hampshire Supreme Court granted it. Stephen's rationale behind the decision being that he is the most sick and twisted person you'll ever meet and should never be given a second chance. We reached out to speak with Stephen, but he declined to comment on the case. William Marks and Quinn Glover, who stood by and did absolutely nothing while Kimberly and Jamie were attacked, are likely to be paroled in the coming years. Quinn was granted parole on his robbery charge and will likely be released in 2029. William will be eligible for parole in 2024. Autumn Savoy was already released on parole in 2015, adding it, because I hadn't gotten any money off her. You know, I had gotten a dime. I spent money on her. I had $45 to my name, and I'd done spent $30 of it driving all over North Georgia trying to work her ATM card on the bogus number she gave me. I've lost money on that deal. If Tabor had said, instead of trying to entrap me, it's just if Tabor had said, hey, Gary, they know it's you. Yeah, they know it's you. They're on to you. They're looking for you now. Because I wasn't in the paper that day. I joked about it with the girl. This was the second day or third day I'd had her. Second or third day I'd had her and she still wasn't in the paper. And she said, well, I'd be mad if once you let me go. Hilton manages to avoid the trap Tabor and police set for him, and, at least according to him, spent a pleasant day with his victim out in the woods. Yeah, we went hiking. Yeah, we went hiking. Yeah, we spent 2 days, 2 nights there, and we were 11 degrees outside air temperature there. And I had the van going from time to time and keep warm. Along Shoals Creek. Okay, man, we had a good time. Okay, how did you keep her from running off while you were hiking? The pursuer has the advantage. You're out there because the pursuit has to break brush. If you bust out running down the road or anywhere else, I'll shoot you now. And I'm a good shot left or right-handed because my right hand was fucked up, which I am. And no, that was it. She was not having a bad time at all and enjoying herself on the hike. I could tell that. Commenting on how beautiful it was. We hiked for several hours along Shoal Creek. A story that doesn't gain believability the more he repeats it. And if his intention is to convince the agents that he has a heart underneath the cruelty, the conclusion to his story erases that possibility. And then the next day we got up and I told her she was going home. I said, I'm giving you all your stuff back. I had all her stuff backed up together. I made a point of showing her as where she always helped me load and unload, especially because my hand was messed up. So in other words, consistent with being kidnapped, she was having a good time, other than, you know what I mean. I won't say she's enjoying it, but she was... Well, let me ask you this. Did you guys leave the site you were camping at that point? No. No. Okay. No. We're packing up and telling her I'm taking her and I'm gonna release her. Hilton says they left the campsite together, but soon he pulled the van over in another area of Dawson Forest. In between, he says, there was another close call, and there was a pickup there. And as he drove by, I waved at him. It was law enforcement. Really? Yeah. It was that close. It was that close. She wasn't even secured either. Having once again caught a lucky break, Hilton took Meredith to a secluded spot, walked her into the woods, got 2 sleeping bags. I got in there. I got a mattress for her to sit on, 2 bags to put over her, a length of chain, secured it to a tree, walked back to the van. I'm staggering around by now. You know, I've had it. I can't even think straight. Went, kind of got myself together, made some coffee and everything, walked back, and at that point, she was there. She said, I was afraid you weren't coming back. I said, you're glad to see me? And she said, I was afraid you weren't coming back. I gave her a book to read, and everything else there. But he grabbed something else when he was back at his van, an iron bar. At long last, Hilton reveals the horrifying truth. A truth police suspected from the moment they found the bloody clothes in that gas station dumpster. It was a jack handle, just a straight jack handle, the solid iron bar, struck her with that. She said, no, let me go. Put her hands up. I kept striking her. You'll see some defensive wounds to her hand. She lost consciousness, and I kept striking her to ensure she was dead. Hilton says that Meredith had to die to ensure his freedom. Once you've taken someone, you're either gonna kill them or you're gonna get caught. It's as simple as that. In my situation, look at me. I got the dog. I got the van. I'm me. I'm famous anyway, regardless. And I knew it. Once you've taken someone, you either kill them or you get caught. If you release them, you're gonna get caught. I mean, am I right or not? If I would have been sure, it's math, right? She's seen all she has to do. They have to put that out and 10,000 people will be caught, including paper. He was just the first one, you know? Of course I knew it. You either kill them or you get caught. Of course, I was able to do it because of my general rage against society. Of course, Hilton's rage is evident as he describes what he did next. Removed her head. Removed the head. With a serrated knife, which you probably have in the dumpster, I think. A serrated knife? Yeah, like a butcher knife or a kitchen knife, a long. And that was in the dumpster as well. Was that... is that difficult to do to take somebody's head off? I've never seen that done. Is it? I'm not asking for my... I understand, and it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real looking back on it. Okay. You're just sawing. All you gotta do is keep sawing, 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 and then get through the joint. It's just like you would. That's what it's made for in the kitchen. Right. Hilton says that his decision to cut Meredith's head off was purely practical. In other words, the hair is full of fiber. Sure, I poured liquid bleach all over her to any DNA, and I knew bleach would not destroy fibers, but that any DNA she may have picked up from my clothes, She'd been wearing my clothes for now, what, 3 days? Right. Or something, and so I poured liquid bleach over her. And again, this was not done to preclude identification or for any other reason other than at that time, I didn't know that I'd even been associated with it. So, and I knew the body would be found sooner or later. These bodies, a body in here sooner or later is going to come to light. It is. And this is not a body that's been discarded. Hilton's last remark seems to go unnoticed, but one could reasonably wonder if the image in his mind at that moment was that of Cheryl Dunlap, whose decapitated body was left in the woods, just like Meredith's. Then I left, headed south to that gas station where I made the call to try to get some money. I'm down to, I think it was $18, something like that. I'm getting full-on glass. This was incoming? Yeah, that gas station. I took her dog with me, and I found a location where I knew the dog would be okay. It's a bustling center, and I knew that the dog would be picked up. If I wanted to ensure that no one would associate the dog with her, I would have killed the dog, but there's no way I could do that. The investigators are left to wonder how it is that the serial murderer before them draws the line at the killing of a dog. But perhaps it's right in line with his life story. The ruthless wanderer, with no regard for anyone other than his one trusted companion. He's a my boy. He's a my baby. Memory's probably doing. Gonna go any second. This is Tucker, yes. Once more before we die. Totally Tucker. Totally Tucker. Yeah, me and the boy. Me and the boy were running this October 92. Almost daily. Yep, sure were. But we are having a good time. Dandy ends up being adopted by Nancy from the public defender's office, who told Iwu that the dog picked up some disturbing habits in his travels with Hilton. He would stalk people while we were walking. He would get behind a tree, for instance. We're not doing that. Come on, we're not doing that anymore. After letting Meredith's dog free and coming, Hilton realized that he was a wanted man. If I had bought a paper that morning on Friday instead of that afternoon, she would have been alive. Because my picture's on the front page, her color picture on the front page of the AJC, looking for me and everything. I wouldn't have killed her. I mean, for Pete's sake, no. Was this difficult for you at all to do this? As far as take her life, was it difficult at all? I mean, do you have feelings one way or the other about it? Or you just needed her for a necessity for you? No. But it was like an out-of-body experience. Okay, it was surrealistic. Of course it's surrealistic. Right. Unreal. And, you look back on it and you say, that wasn't even real. That wasn't even real. I don't know what it was. I was just in, you might say, an altered state. I just don't know. It was hard. Okay. It was hard. Okay. Right. Actually, she did not have an unpleasant time. But Hilton says that he knew from the beginning how Meredith's story would end. I'm going to tell you right now. There was never any plan to let her go. Okay. I knew that if I let her go, I would be instantly ID'd. Once you've done it, you're either going to kill her or get caught. There's no other solution. It's not that, and that sounds cool and cruel. Yeah, it was. Hilton's confession is thorough, but it comes at a high price. They agree to take the death penalty off the table in exchange for Hilton's guilty plea, his full confession, and one final piece of information they need to bring closure to this horrific case. What I'd like to do is let you now tell us where the body is and try to direct us to it the best you can, and because it's very important that we locate the body as soon as we can this evening. Hilton points out the exact spot in Dawson Forest on a map, but says the investigators may have a difficult search ahead of them. It's going to be a little harder to find. You're going to need a dog for this, I believe. Can you help us? Well, I'll help you. Okay. It's uncomfortable for me to go there, though. I mean, but I understand. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. Hilton overcomes his discomfort and leads the investigators to Meredith's body, though they run into some minor complications on the drive. That's not me. Now, how in the hell are they down here? I'm infamous. You are? My God. I mean, I've read a little of the news that my lawyers brought me a little bit, but I don't really want to read it. Screw the curl of your fucking hair, man. They don't understand that except for this rampage, I was the injured party. I kid you not, and all of society trying to get me in trouble. If they had their way, they would tell lies to the cop. The cop would arrest me and send me to the penitentiary, take my dog away and ruin my life just because they don't want to be wrong. Okay, it's as simple as that. You talk about cruel and heartless, man, and you talk about, hey, kill my brothers. You start getting that thing, you're just raising in society. Hilton may be disgruntled with some of the coverage, but he also seems to take a certain pride in it, such as when he recounts how he handled the perp walk. Did you see the way we did? Oh, yeah, right. I'm the one that wants to do that. You see, I was going around. I was leading them. And I'm the one that just dives in head first. The more you limit it, the bigger demand it makes. Now, if I had come walking out like Eric Rudolph, he's a fucking smug, is all he is. But when I come running out there and then dive into the car, wearing the vest, it's a mistake. The cops and the press gathered near Dawson Forest away, and Hilton takes the investigators to the exact location of Meredith's body, only to reveal that he placed her head and clothing in a separate area down the road. You said that there was one sexual encounter? Was that the only one? Yeah. There wasn't anything post-mortem, right? No. Okay. Meredith Emerson's autopsy reveals a wide range of serious injuries consistent with Hilton's story. In addition to post-mortem chemical burns from the bleach, the medical examiner finds contusions and several broken bones. It's determined that she died of massive crushing head injuries, having been struck at least 19 times with a blunt instrument. At the site of her body in Dawson Forest, Hilton is asked one last question. Is this the first time you've ever done anything like this before? Hilton's lawyer advises him not to answer, but soon enough, investigators will know the truth. Hilton's reign of terror didn't begin with Meredith Emerson, or even with Cheryl Dunlap in Florida. When did your rampage begin? Can I ask you that? I mean, yeah, I started hunting. Right up here. Yeah. And I started hunting in September. A federal investigation will reveal that on October 21st, 2007, a retired couple visiting Pisgah National Forest in North Carolina had the misfortune of running into Gary Hilton. In a recent interview, Hilton said that he spotted John and Irene Bryant as they got out of their car, accosted them, and demanded their credit cards. When John Bryant refused, Hilton says he beat him with his police baton and pepper sprayed him. Irene tried to then attack Hilton with her walking stick, and he knocked her to the ground with the baton as well, and ultimately murdered her right there in the forest. Her body was discovered a month later, but John's whereabouts remained a mystery for months. My attorneys informed me this morning that they had found the body, a body in North Carolina. They found a skull and a pelvis, and it's off of Old Murphy Road and it's on Forest Service Road. And they found the body, so maybe he's no longer missing. After kidnapping John Bryant and getting $300 out of his bank account, Hilton drove him to the Nantahala National Forest and shot him in the head. One may say, well, you're the one that chose to make money by killing. There's other ways to make money. There's bank robbery and so forth. Well, in retrospect, I regret not attempting a bank robbery. I really do. Because all of this shit got me nowhere. It caught. The authorities aren't able to precisely put his death on an exact date, but it happened relatively quickly because Hilton was alone 5 days after the Bryants vanished when that Cherokee County deputy rolled up on the afternoon of October 26th. What you doing out here? Well, you're the fourth person to come along. Am I? And ask me that. If there's deer hunters around there, I can be wearing a purple shirt, that red backpack, and they're going to tell me I'm going to get shot. But, you know, that's a common threat. They're very particular. I understand. Can I get your ID real quick? Yeah, you sure can. You see that fanny pack right there? Is there any weapons in that fanny pack? Absolutely not. And I'm going to bring it to you. So are you a hiker? Or long-distance camper? Or hiker? Hiker. I love the law, though. Hey, check it out, man. Do you need something else here? No, I'm just gonna run this. Make sure nobody wants you, and then probably just pay to get your stuff and get out of here. I'm trying. I've got it. I'm trying. Do you want to finish packing up? Do you want to get your stuff together? I'm going to run this real quick and then I'll let you get out of here. Get away from him. You're a little too much. I know. But, you know, police officers. If she was going to do something, she would have already done it. I just hesitate to break the law standing in front of the police officer. Well, if they do, it's popped up in the last 6 hours or whatever. Right. Because they were running me on 20, thinking I'm drunk. Now they're in here thinking I'm going to take one of their deer. Because Gary's crimes took place on national forest land, he's in danger of federal prosecution, a risk he brought up several times when talking to Georgia investigators. Well, I'm going to dig my heels in. I don't want federal custody. So it's where they send the notorious, infamous people. Well, I mean, it's debatable on who calls you notorious and who calls you, just a mad guy. Hilton's guilty plea in the Meredith Emerson case sends the wheels of justice spinning rapidly. He's sentenced to life in prison for the murder on January 31st, 2008, less than a month after his arrest. When you're going out to kill somebody, if you're seen by a single other person on the trail, then that's that day's crew. But when you procrastinate because you don't want to get up and kill someone, and you let it go and you say, I won't kill anyone today. We'll just go hiking with my dog. Have fun. Time, we're doomed anyway. And so you get down to the point where, well, like Meredith, I had $40 money and several days' food, so I had to kill somebody in that period of time. And when you get down to the bitter end, you ignore all the rules you set. Part of it is I'm curious. As an artist and as a sociopath, if you're doing this, you would like to select your victims on an artistic sense. But when you get down, you procrastinate, and someone's got to fall. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, I want to know them and to see who I have got rather than just a faceless person you're going to kill. Again, I'm remorseful over Meredith, because just for the fact that if nothing else, she drove a Chevy Cavalier. I can't tell you how much I respect that. Why is that? White Chevy Cavalier? I asked her why. She tells me the sensible reasons and everything. I respected her to no end for that. She didn't have a brain in her head, but hey, neither do you either. Hilton was indicted in federal court for the murders of John and Irene Bryant in 2011, and he ultimately pled guilty. He received 4 consecutive life sentences in 2013. Listen, I couldn't. There's no way I could make it on the outside. I've told you before, I'd have to turn around and walk back in here. I had no place to go, nothing to do. But there's one more murder for which Hilton is being prosecuted, and the district attorney in Leon County, Florida, is determined to get justice for the death of Cheryl Dunlap. But you tell them I'll fight it all the way, and if they want to spend $10 million to try to execute a man who's not going to live long to get executed, hey, just bring it the hell off, but I ain't going to lay it out for them. Hilton pleads not guilty in Florida. which means he will go before a jury for the first time. And in addition to hearing the physical and circumstantial evidence tying Hilton to Cheryl's murder, they will hear from Hilton himself in the form of the recordings he made with Dandy. I've gained 20 pounds in 3 months, 3 or 4 months, 171 pounds. You don't get any. But it's not Hilton's seeming attempt at a video blog that prosecutors want the jury to see. It's a recording from December 3rd, 2007, only 2 days after Cheryl Dunlap went missing. I'm gonna get some good pussy and wonder if they're staying for it. She don't want me to go to work. You know what I mean? She don't want me to have to shoot her. See, I had stuff hidden. I had a gun. I had a gun hidden. I killed them with it. I had to kill those bitches. Going down here and we're going to the park. Yeah, we're going to go. Have a good time. Go to the park. Yeah. But first I gotta go hide it somewhere else. The jurors also hear mention of a man named Samuel Rail, who was Hilton's lawyer and friend in the 1980 seconds. Rail told Florida investigators that Hilton had been an advisor on a low-budget thriller he produced called Deadly Run. Hilton, he said, was the one who came up with the movie's premise. A serial killer who releases women into the woods so he can hunt them down and kill them like prey. Despite all this, Hilton appears to be confident about his chances when he spoke to another prisoner in the Leon County Jail. Got chopped a woman up, killed her dog up in Georgia and all that too, ain't you? Yeah, man. Crazy or what? Not crazy. I looked at him. He's got a little evil grin. I said, "You gonna play the crazy card though, ain't you?" Yeah. But the evidence against Hilton is powerful. Investigators have found Cheryl Dunlap's DNA in Hilton's van, and while they were never able to positively identify the bone fragments from the burn pit, they discover a cigarette butt at the campsite with Hilton's DNA. The jury's decision is unanimous. In April 2011, Gary Michael Hilton was found guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and grand theft. In a 2025 interview, Hilton confessed to Cheryl Dunlap's murder for the first time, saying he abducted her off the trails in Leon Sinks Geological Park because he was running low on food. After running her ATM card several times over the coming days, he ended her life with a gunshot to the back of the head. The judge hands him the one sentence he's been trying desperately to avoid: death. Today, almost 20 years after what he calls his rampage, Hilton awaits execution at Union Correctional Institution in Rayford, Florida.